Well, good evening, fit and fun game players. It is wonderful to have you on this evening's webinar. We're excited to give you installment 2 of the TribePOD system and the Gamplify system as it relates to the fit and fun game. Again, my name is Kyle Newton and I'm one of the creators and founders of the fit and fun game, the TribePOD system, and Gamplify. And this webinar is for all of you who are playing the fit and fun game, being part of what we're offering, and here not only to get fit, to have fun, to engage in the overall health transformation, and not possibly even to tap in, not in addition to tapping into the financial incentives, you're also here to learn the TribePOD system and the Gamplify system. And those are some key words, some key technologies. You're here playing the fit and fun game. And just like I shared last week, I'll rehash a little bit of this. Myself, I have a background in the coaching and consulting industry, and my network, a lot of the people that I know are coaches and consultants as well. So many of these coaches and consultants, both individual coaches, individual consultants, and coaching and consulting organizations have decided to play the fit and fun game with myself and others, not only to have all the benefits of the game, but to really learn the TribePOD and the Gamplify system. And on last week's installment of this particular webinar, I kind of covered my background, my history, how it relates to the fit and fun game, to the TribePOD system, to the Gamplify system. And this week, what I want to do is dive right into the Gamplify system. And let me also project what's going to happen over the next few weeks. In the fit and fun game, for all of you coaches and consultants who are playing, we're starting week 2 of that game. And many of you are already realizing this game and the game environment produces absolutely phenomenal results. And what we're going to work to do on this particular webinar is really unpack what's happening in the previous week. So last week, nothing had happened. We were right at the beginning. So I did a little background, a little introduction of myself and what the systems are all about. This week, I want to start unpacking what you should have experienced last week and how that is relevant and how that can also translate to your coaching and consulting business. And so we're going to get right into that, and we're going to start with Gamplify, and here's why. Most people's exposure with the game right now is the Gamplify process, or the game. Gamplify is the word amplify with a G. It simply means to amplify anything using game dynamics and game thinking, and we'll get more into the definition of that in just a few moments. But the fit and fun game is direct sales gamplified. It's gamplifying the direct sales or network marketing industry, and specifically one company, Isagenix. And so what we've done is we've taken network marketing and direct sales as it has always been, and we have gamplified it. And we call that gamplified environment the fit and fun game. And so that's the kind of game we're kind of diagnosing, we're taking apart, and then translating that into your business. Now, a quick reminder, you're probably here as a coach or consultant because you want to learn lead generation, lead conversion, right? We talked about this on last week's webinar about lead fulfillment, which is your ability to deliver your consultancy. It's the ability for you to deliver your coaching and all the time that you spend on becoming a better consultant and a better coach. Yet what we know is individual coaches and individual consultants are struggling now and have always struggled because it's a kind of a you Inc. business. It's you incorporated, right? And so you've got to do the selling, you've got to do the recruiting, you've got to do the closing, you've got to do the fulfillment. You have to do so many parts of this business that it's a little bit overwhelming. And for one person to be that talented, to be able to be the salesperson, the marketer, the business strategist, the invoicer, the accountant, and actually the person that does the coaching and consulting, that's a lot of skills packed into one person. And that's why many coaches and consultants struggle. They're excited about their whatever technology or whatever system or tool or process they use in their coaching. They're excited about their consultancy tools and business, but they've still got to go out there and sell, and typically sell themselves. You know, I was on a call today with a great coaching organization. I cannot wait to work with them. I think they probably have one of the most cutting edge consultancy packages for businesses I've ever seen. They kind of blend assessments, they blend gap analysis, they blend coaching, they blend training, all into one package that literally can change the ROI, the return on investment, of the investment the company is making into those coaches, and can also actually even address character and culture issues across the whole organization and definitely in the individuals that make up that organization. And that is a powerful, powerful model for those that are in corporate and professional consulting. If you can really package yourself well and deliver, fulfill on that promise, then you're going to win. But that business, even of itself, has an issue with lead generation, lead conversion. Even though they have a phenomenal experience and a phenomenal tool in actually transforming businesses, how did they get businesses to pay attention? They of themselves said, you know, we're not running ads, we're not doing sophisticated marketing, we're not doing any of those things. So how do they get people's attention, business owners, to actually come to them and solicit them for their services and not only generate that lead, but convert that lead? And that's what we're looking to train. Not only organizations like the one I talked to today, but individual coaches. As a matter of fact, my background is really more in the individual coaching and individual consulting arena. I've done consulting work with large corporations like Lockheed Martin, a multi-billion-dollar international company, down to mom and pops and everything in between. But my sweet spot is the individual coach and is the individual home-based business owner and is the individual consultant. I guess because I feel it. That's kind of where I live. That's where I kind of scratch my DNA. You know, Lee Iacocca might not be that great at direct sales, but he can run a multi-billion-dollar international company. I'm not really probably ready to run an international billion-dollar company, but I do understand the unique desires and the unique DNA of the solo coach, the coach that's looking to make a living. Matter of fact, just before this webinar, I was on the webinar with a great coach, Gina, and here she is. She's looking at how to make her coaching practice profitable. I would call her more of a solo coach. She uses tools and internet, technology, different types of things, but she's not part of a formal coaching organization that I'm aware of and not using a formal structure to deliver her coaching methodology. So while having all of the desire to transform someone's life through her gifts, talents, and strengths, how to translate that into a revenue stream is a struggle for her, as it is for most coaches and consultants. So we're hoping that through these webinars, we're going to teach you lead generation, lead conversion to fulfill on whatever coaching methodology or consulting methodology you're going after. That's either whether you're the big organization like I was talking to today that has a lot of resources, a lot of background, a lot of research, a lot of intellectual property, have their own assessments, multiple employees, all of that. Whether you're that kind of organization or whether you're like Gina and many of thousands of others of solo coaches, how do you generate and convert leads to whatever you're wanting to fulfill on, whatever you're wanting to accomplish? That's what we're looking to accomplish. And we're going to break that down for you over the next 4 to 5 weeks. And we're going to use the experience of the Fit Fun game to actually teach you. And we covered a little bit of that last week. Experiential learning. That's one of the reasons why we have you coaches and consultants playing the game. Number one, most all coaches and consultants could use a health revolution, overall health transformation. So that's a benefit. Tapping into the financial incentives of the Fit Fun game. That's a benefit. But learning these processes deep inside of you by being engaged with them is absolutely phenomenal. And so I hope that's your takeaway. So let me kind of give you a fast forward view of what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Last week, I did an introduction. Today, I'm going to focus more on Gamplify, the game dynamic of what is happening and how to apply game dynamics to your coaching and consulting business. How this translates right now with you who are actually playing the Fit Fun game and in week 1 and beginning week 2 of your Fit Fun game. The way this translates is right now in the Fit Fun game, you've really only interacted with the Gamplify processes, keeping scores, turning into a game, creating a team, all of those elements. You've really only interacted with that. We haven't really unpacked for you the TribePOD processes of actually presentation, orientation, duplication, part of the pod, and the 5 phases of the TribePOD system, and much more that we're going to unpack for you as you experience over the next 4 weeks. So Gamplify is a big part of the front door, lead generation, and it can also be a big part of the back door, lead fulfillment, and either not fulfilling well and losing those clients. But we're going to focus on Gamplify as the front door, the what got people's attention, what got them to be able to notice and to engage in this game, and how you can use Gamplify principles and Gamplify techniques to really incentivize people to come into your business. Then over the subsequent weeks, we'll break down some of the other lead generation, lead conversion techniques and technologies that we use in the TribePOD system, the Gamplify system, and all of that merged into the Fit and Fun game. So this is going to unpack progressively. I'm going to try to sync up these webinars to what you've actually experienced in the Fit and Fun game, and so that you can tie those correlations together. So let's move on to our next slide. Again, we're going to be talking about TribePOD. We're going to be talking about Gamplify, and as those two technologies, those two ideas relate to your experience with the Fit and Fun game. And let's first look at the word incentive. And we spent a little time talking about this last week, but I'm going to really begin to unpack it. I began a study of incentives about it's going on about 10 months ago. And this came out of a study of collaboration, how to increase collaboration within organizations, within networks, within any group of people, for profit, not for profit, whatever that may be. My study of collaboration backed me into economic theory and really studying economics and what makes societies and organizations and groups of people actually interact when money is involved. Guys, when you start putting money involved with anything, it changes the dynamic of everything. To the good, to the bad, some way or another, money changes everything. For example, Gina was a coach to day traders. I've day traded in the past. You can day trade a non-monetary account, a trial account, a demo account, and you can make all kinds of money. I mean, you can put then only $100 on the line and lose it all in a heartbeat. And where you were making successful trade, you put real money on the line, boom, everything changes. And so I was studying economic theory because I work with a lot of networks. I work with a lot of groups. And they do well together in theory. They do well together in talking about working together. But when they actually start bringing their networks together and the money starts crossing over, the game changes. And so I began to study economic theory, which backed me into game theory, which is a big study in economics. Economists use game theory or game models so they can run analysis and they can run theories through a mathematical model and actually study and predict, to some degree, how societies will interact with different economic incentives or drivers changing. And so game theory backed me into game theory. Game theory as it relates to economics, game theory as it relates to human interaction, because really, economics is a study of how human beings behave in economic and financial situations or any type of societal interaction, because most societal interactions involve money in some way or another. And that backed me into gaming, which then backed me into understanding drivers, incentives, and the things that make gaming unique. Now, let me first say something about Gamplify and Gamplify's use of incentives. This is my personal belief, and I'm going to speak to you about technology, and technology as a coach right now. Here's my belief. My belief is that from the 1990s to 2000 was the dot-com era, and you all are very familiar with that. You know, you build a website, they'll come. All these overinflated companies, VC capital flowing like liquid, into these Silicon Valley companies, and towards the end of the 90s, early 2000s, boom, we've got the dot-com bubble. And while the internet is still with us, email is still alive and well. Heck, I'm streaming over the internet right now. We got broadband internet. The internet hasn't gone away. It's just there was an overvaluation of the results that just building it and they'll come will produce. And that brought us into the 2000 to 2010 decade, which became the decade of Web 2.0 and the decade of the individual and social media. One person being able to broadcast to many, and then those people being able to communicate back to them, then them being able to communicate with each other and really forming a tribe. And really over the past 10 years, Facebook has emerged as the person or the company that really owns what's called the social graph. Facebook is really becoming a big part of the internet, as big as Google, as big as Microsoft. And so Facebook has come and now owns kind of that arena. And it's going to be very hard to displace them. It's going to have to be a whole different type of technology to really displace them. And it's not going to happen anytime soon in internet years of 3 to 5 years, right? It's not going to happen anytime soon. So what is the decade of 2010 and beyond? And this is what I believe. I began to study other researchers who are looking into this and other companies that are actually on the very, very, very cutting edge. Guys, we're at like when internet was only available in college, what I'm about to share with you. We're at the very place where the guy that created Facebook, Mark, where he was creating Facebook just for Harvard and Stanford, right? At the very cutting edge of what's about to happen is the concept of Gamplify, using game dynamics and game thinking to change and solve real-world problems through user engagement and user loyalty. The internet now is a very engaged and it's a very flooded arena. It's hard to gain attention. And so what people are doing now is using game dynamics and game thinking to create user engagement, to create user loyalty, all while solving real-world problems. The real-world problem that we're solving using Gamplify techniques in the direct sales and network marketing industry are 4 primary problems. We're overcoming getting people's attention, okay? And let me pause here for a second, time out, a timeout transition moment. You need to get attention of your clients so that you can even begin to generate them as a lead to get their attention. And you have to hold their attention long enough that you can enter into a conversation with them to convert them as a lead and then them to become a paying client. Gamplify and using game dynamics and game thinking can actually be used as the mouth of the funnel for your lead generation mechanisms. And here's why. And I'm going to tie it now back to the Fit and Fun game. With the Fit and Fun game, prior to the Fit and Fun game, and I'll speak specifically for Isagenix, an Isagenix associate, a coach within Isagenix, only had really 2 offers to make people to come join their network marketing or direct sales opportunity to generate or convert a lead. The first offer was the business opportunity. Come and make money, build an organization, recruit others, talk to your friends and families, draw little circles and draw the binary compensation plan and show all the money side of the business. Or they're going to show the fitness or the health side of the business and try to get people in to change their health and wellness. And so those are the 2 buckets of opportunities that they could generate leads with. The Fit Fun game bridges both, but bridges both eloquently. Because think about the substance of these 2 offers and think about the substance of your offer as a coach and as a consultant, and think about how you're making that offer to prospective clients. Keep this in mind while I'm breaking this down for you. An Isagenix rep, oftentimes I do call them a coach. Sorry, all you life coaches are certified. They're not a life coach, but we use that term loosely in our arena, in the direct sales arena. These associates, these consultants would only have to make one of these 2 offers. Now, you have to be interested in sales if the business opportunity is going to be interested to you. Now, you could be ejecting out of a job and come to this because of a crisis and hopefully a quick fix financial type situation, but most people making the presentation must be good at sales. And if you're making a fitness or health perspective, you've got to be pretty educated in the product. And you've got to be willing to overcome people's resistance to changing their nutritional program, to changing their diet. And most people don't have the ability to stick with people long enough to assist them in changing in a diet. Thus, the person never uses the product. Thus, they don't produce results. Thus, they come back and say, see, I told you this wouldn't work for me. And so both of these presentations are fraught with pits that you could easily fall into. What the Fit and Fun game does and the Gamplify process is elegantly package this in a game. So the offer now can be even a 3rd offer. Come play a game with me. Engage in health and wellness in a whole different way that'll help you produce results unbelievably and in a remarkable kind of way. Or come play a game with me and also tap into the level up financial incentives game. And so they're leading with the game. And because that's so different, they get attention. What if you could Gamplify your coaching and consulting business? What if you could build a game around it where it got your client's attention immediately? That's what we're experiencing with the Fit and Fun game. They're leading with the game. And think about it this way. 80% of the people in the world are socializers. Only 20% are achievers, explorers, killers, the different types of game players. This also proves out true in personality type and behavioral theory. Even though most assessments try to break people into groups of 25% and norm the population, most of the population, if you look at it financially, if you just look at financial statistics, most people go to the job, get a paycheck, come home, and live halfway broke. It's just true. Right? 80% of people like to socialize, don't really fully engage and take an achievement success mentality with their life. They're kind of clocking it in and clocking it out. Only 20% of the people actually take an engaged role in their life. Now, why is this important? Number one, at the end of the day, no matter whether you're a corporate consultant or coach or an individual consultant and coach, your end client is an individual. It's a person. Even if that person is the CEO of that's going to make the decision, or the HR manager that's going to make the decision as to whether you get to bring your product, service, assessment, whatever, into their organization, or whether your your average client is the average person or the average marriage or the average sports enthusiast or whatever your niche coaching and consulting market is, that person, you got to get their attention in such a significant way that separates out the viewpoint. Now, I had this great guy, Doug, share with me the concept of red ocean and blue ocean. A red ocean is a place where there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of Me Too type technology, Me Too type presentations, and you have to then fight it out, distinguishing amongst cost and value and price and all of these different elements. Where a blue ocean is brand new space. It's wide open. It's virgin territory. There's no competition out there, thus you're not competing on value and price and positioning with other players and other vendors and other competitors in that arena. You want to be in a blue ocean arena. The game dynamic is that blue ocean arena. It's on its cutting edge right now. Only a handful of companies are even doing what we're doing. And the ones that are only doing it for Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies because they're the only ones who can afford the type of technology and the type of thinking and design that has to go into a game. That's why we're packaging this for two primary industries, which comes out of my background. The direct sales industry and the coaching and consultant industry. I'm familiar with those two industries. I'm familiar where the constraints are, where the strengths are, and how we can use Gamplify technology to actually accelerate lead generation, lead conversion, and lead fulfillment. So the more that you understand Gamplify technology and the more that you understand how it can impact the bottom line of your coaching organization or you as an individual coach, the better off you're going to be. And it all has to do, Gamplify at the beginning, at the hi, how are you, hello, first point, has to do with incentives. And I want to define what an incentive is to you. Because when I began to really understand incentives, things began to change. An incentive is any factor, financial or non-financial, that enables or motivates a particular course of action, or counts as a reason for preferring one choice to the alternatives. Think about that. Red ocean, blue ocean. In a red ocean, there's all kinds of alternatives. There's all kinds of options that the average consumer can choose. Consumers being either the CEO, the HR department, or whatever, of whatever organization you're trying to bring your coaching or consulting into, or the individual, the marriage, the couple, the person, the pastor, the leader, the executive, whatever that you're trying to bring your individual coaching to. They have in their, at least minds, a bunch of opportunities, or at least they don't have clarity of what those opportunities are. When you get the right incentives in place, when you begin to give someone the proper incentive, either financial or non-financial, that enables you to motivate that decision maker, that lead, in a particular course of action, and that incentive counts as a reason for preferring one choice over the alternatives, you now have begun to accelerate the lead generation, lead conversion mechanism, because they're like, wow, I've never heard that before. Wow, I've never seen it quite like that before. Tell me more. See, if you can get a client saying, wow, I didn't know you could do it that way, then they want to know more. As me and others have gone out and led with the Fit and Fun game and say, come play a game with us that doesn't square up with the past stigma. And that's the second thing that a game will overcome. Number one, it gets their attention. Ooh, a game, what are you talking about there? The attention is out there because it's so new. It's in a blue ocean. There's no competition out there. What do you mean a game? How do I play a game? What's the game about? You got their attention. And because you're talking about the game, and you're not talking about old school network marketing techniques, and you're not talking about old school health and wellness dieting techniques, you're talking about engaging in a new way, health and wellness and financial incentives, you have their attention. And because you have their attention focused on a game, you now overcome the stigma they may have of past failures in their health and wellness and any past experience and failures with direct sales or network marketing. Thus, you bypass the stigma objection because they're engaging in a game. You don't have to engage in that conversation. And so when you have the incentives right, both financial and non-financial, things begin to happen. And for most of you, let's pause here for a second. Most coaches, most coaching organizations can't stack up with the larger coaching organizations. They don't have the financial incentives, like going to the trade shows, paying for the advertising, doing all the marketing. So they have to use other non-financial incentives to share their unique selling proposition to the client. And so using game dynamics is actually a non-financial incentive that you can offer that makes you unique in your marketplace. Let's move on. An incentive is also, it is an expectation that encourages people to behave in a certain way. Oh boy, if this wasn't fun. And if you were on any of the previous webinars tonight, guys, people, like with our Fit and Fun game, we have a coaching. Now let's pause here and frame this up for a second. I sometimes say that network marketing is coaching. It's not certified coaching. I'm not saying we're certified, unless we really are, when we're not in this context. What I'm saying though is we're coaching people through a 4-week, 28-day overall health transformation that they have paid $380 to engage in. How do we coach them through that? And how do we help them change behavior? Because isn't all coaching and consulting about changing thinking, which then changes behavior, which then changes outcome? It's all wrapped up in one of those three things: thinking, then doing, then outcome. And so we're involved in helping people change what they think, what they do, and then the results that come from that. So how do we do that? How do we get an incentive out there that changes people's behavior in such a way it doesn't create or need so much carrot and stick, so much pain, pleasure? You do that by changing and mixing up the incentive strategies that you have available to you. And by using game dynamics in the Fit and Fun game, what's happened is that now people are playing for points, not pounds, points, not dollars. They're out inviting people to the game because they want to have fun, not because they're all like worried, I'm now making this, network marketing presentation in my living room and am I going to do it well? No, they're not even thinking that. Hey, come play a game with me. I mean, it's just that simple. Come play a game with me. They're not like, hey, would you come to this hotel meeting and watch this direct sales presentation and you can make some money? People get all squirrely about all that. Instead, they just say, hey, come play a game with me. Or they come over here. Well, you're going to have to change your eating and take shakes and these accelerators. I know you probably won't like it, but it can produce results if you do it. And they just stumble. Guys, I've trained people trying to make a presentation from any one of these two perspectives. And that's lead generation. That's the presentation. And they just stumble all over their words because they can't feel congruent about it in themselves. Salespeople can. Health and nutrition gurus can. But that's 10, maybe best case 20% of the population. What does the 80% of the people that get involved in this do? They stumble all over themselves trying to make a great presentation, lead generation. So by letting them, who are mostly socializers anyway, invite people to play a game, the incentives are right for them. They're incentivized. And they're incentivized to do it in a way that's congruent with themselves. And the incentive that they're giving the other person is fun and different. And it changes behavior. Then once they engage in the process, because they're clocking off points to represent what nutritionals are taking in the body, the incentive is points to win a game, not taking a nutritional to lose weight. Please understand that. Tonight, even on our webinar, even on my interview with one of the players, they said, there's no way I'd be playing this game. There's no way. Now catch me on this. She said to me, and about everybody who's played this game so far has said this to me, I would have not changed my behavior, i.e. taking the shakes, taking the vitamins, done all of this, near as consistently or at all if it wasn't for the game. What does that mean? Let's go back to the definition. It's an expectation that encourages people to behave in a certain way. She said to me, I would not behave in the way that would have finished this product, this process that you're coaching me on. Do you have a coaching process that has multiple steps that you could actually assign a point value to? I guarantee you do. Do you have a hard time getting people to actually follow through on your coaching, mentoring, training processes? I can guarantee you that you do. What if you change the incentives from, I'm going to call you next week and on our coaching call, you better have journaled, you better have taken your assessment, you better have done this, you better have done that. Or, hey, if you do it, here's all the great things that are going to happen if you fill out this, and here's how you're going to succeed, and you're going to get your desires. So we either carrot or stick them. And how is that working out for you? Well, for most coaches and consultants, it's producing moderate results, but not totally profitable results, or in many cases, no results. And so the reason is not because you're not a great coach. Guys, settle that right now. If you're watching this webinar, you have a heart for people. You have a heart to see organizations and cultures and individuals change. Don't you want to do that in the best way possible? I'm suggesting to you, and it may be bold a suggestion, that Gamplify and using game dynamics is literally going to be how it's done. Guys, I'm 40 years old as of January 5th of this year. I am the very oldest person or age group or demographic on the planet that grew up with games as a primary way of entertainment. I was one of the first kids to have an Atari and then a Bally and then all of these different other types of games. I grew up at box games playing Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaxia, Centipede, Tron, all of these things. And again, our games aren't about that. I'm just saying we're used to that type of engagement. And the culture now is growing to have that type of interaction and engagement to get that level of attention. And because when we play games, we kick into a whole different environment. In my seminars, I put people into game environments. Why? Because I want their normal strategies to kick in. When I teach win-win, I teach win-win in my open to public seminars, but I put them in a game environment. Guess what people do? Lose-win, lose-lose, win-lose. Every time, automatically. Why? Because they're programmed. There's a huge game program, especially in America. And there's a subconscious programming that just kicks in for most people. What if you could tap that? Tap the motivations that are inside that game that's inside of everybody and channel that towards your outcome for their good. Here's something that's very interesting. There's very few things that can be leveraged in a person's life that produces a predictable result in a recurring manner without using force or sex. Okay, force or sex can change a lot of people's behaviors in a predictable manner. That's why Hollywood uses, that's why advertisers use it. They use sex and force or violence as a driver to attract people. Most of you, coaches and consultants, I hope you're not offering sexual favors. Now, my Christian audience, just calm down. Right? I hope you're not offering sexual favors, and I hope you're not pulling guns on people. So how do you help organizations and individuals produce predictable results in a recurring manner? The only way that I know how to do it is to have the right set of incentives. Why? Because an incentive is an expectation that encourages people to behave in a certain way. Since human beings are purposeful creatures, the study of incentive structures is central to the study of all economic activity, both in terms of individual decision making and in terms of cooperation and competition within a larger institutional structure. Like I said, I backed into this looking at cooperation. I backed into this whole study by looking at how people work together, especially in economic situations, because I put networks together and want them to engage economically, and yet they get all the fear and the scarcity and the lose-win and the win-lose and all the Nash equilibriums and suboptimal results kick in, and we don't have the abundance that's actually available. And I began to back into incentives and drivers. And ironically enough, and you'll be interested in this, my programmers came to the concept of using game dynamics before I did, because they do play all of these online games like World of Warcraft and these huge multiplayer online games. My son, I began to experience this as he began to play Black Ops and against other people all around the world, and began to see how he engaged with the game. I began to really get an idea. Well, my programmers got this before me almost a year ago and began developing the technology. They wouldn't even tell me what the project was because they knew I'd get too excited about it. But I ended up finding out about it a few months later by backing into it. And so both my programmers and myself have come together in a powerful way, creating the software and the technology necessary to facilitate a Gamplified environment, an environment that's using game dynamics. And so we're looking to amplify your coaching business. And it first happens with the alignment of the incentives. And let me make a confession. I'm going to make a open, public, on-air confession right now. So this isn't going to be, well, I won't mention any names. This is not an infidelity disclosure or anything like that. I love my wife. If you see my wife, she's beautiful, and I'd be a crazy man to cheat on that woman. Okay, here's my disclosure though. My disclosure is that I have been serving incentive soup my whole life as a marketer and as a software company owner, owning my own businesses, being in direct sales, being a coach, consultant, all of those things. I have been utterly confusing my clients. How's that working out for me? Not so good. What kind of results is it producing? Through a lot of hard effort, fortunately we've been successful, but good Lord, it's been a lot of pushing the rock up the hill both ways kind of thing, you know? And what do I mean by incentive soup? What I mean is that if you don't have clarity in why someone should engage with you, and they can clearly understand that and hold that context of the incentive of even paying attention to you, generating the lead, then listening to you long enough to convert a lead, and then coming in and staying engaged in your process long enough for the fulfillment process to happen, then you've got a huge treadmill of clients and whatnot. And I confused incentives all the way through this to where no one really knew why they should interact with me. And for the ones I could wrangle enough to move over to lead generation, then I'd have to spend a lot of time and they'd have to cut through the way I was communicating, because I would mix all these different incentives and then finally get over to fulfillment and try to keep the incentives clear. And I was working against myself. And I might coin that term incentive soup, because I've been serving, and I see this like alphabet soup that's not saying anything. The letters are all floating around, right? This is how my marketing presentations would be and other things, because the incentives were all off. And by no means have I mastered this yet, but boy, am I learning some quick and fast lessons as I become a student of this and also apply it in every business that I operate. And so incentives are going to be a big word and a big concept that you're going to hear me talk about through the series of these webinars, because incentives are key. They are primary to what you want to accomplish. So let's move on. And I'm going to go quickly through the Fit Fun Game process and let you take a look at some of the slides there. Incentives typically are carrot and stick. I mean, this is what most people rely on. You know, you either do this and we're going to punish you if you don't, blah, 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 right? In network marketing, direct sales, you're never going to make any money. And if you don't do what we say, you got to get off the calls. You got to do this. We're going to leave you behind, blah, 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 blah. Coaching and consulting, as a coach, if you don't do this, then you're not going to produce results. So we paint all this negative picture for our clients and our coaching clients and our consultancy clients and our network marketing distributors or whatever that may be, that put the fear of God in them, right? Use the pain mechanism to make them move off of their homeostasis and their complacency and outside their comfort zone. Or we put a big old carrot out there, make $1 million in direct sales in 20 days, humongous residual income. Or with clients, we really promote what the ROI is and try to get them to understand what it means to get cultural alignment and personal congruency and actualization and all of these things, right? And so we sell the carrot. The challenge is the carrot, and once you hit them once, you got to hit them again. And once you give them one carrot, you got to give them another carrot. And you got to keep carrot and sticking, carrot and sticking, carrot and sticking. And it's painful and arduous, both for you, the one who's trying to carrot and stick, and for the mule that you're trying to drive down the path. But let me ask you, how many mules are you coaching? No, yeah, you don't coach that many mules. You coach lions and tigers and bears, oh my. The leaders, the achievers, the success-oriented people that would even want your services anyway. And they're not very responsive. They turn around and eat the guy with the stick and the carrot. They eat you and the carrot, right? And so the opportunity is that people aren't animals that can be easily trained. Now, I know they can from a psychological perspective. I know I'm trained by Hollywood and advertising and societal norms and things like that, and we can fall prey to it very susceptibly. But also, isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way to motivate people and to incent people? Isn't there a better way than the old school, hey, do it and we'll beat you up? What if you put people on a team? What if you made it a game? What if you made your processes fun in such a way that people would want to engage with them in a powerful and engaged type way? That would change the dynamics altogether. And that's what we call Gamplify. And that's the Gamplify technology. And to Gamplify is simply the use of games and game thinking and game mechanics in non-game contexts to create user engagement and user loyalty, all while having fun and solving real world problems. Guys, that's what we're talking about. Using games, game thinking, game technology in your real world, in the world of your coaching and consulting business. And we're solving a problem while having fun. What's the problem? Generating clients, converting clients, fulfilling on them, and becoming a profitable coaching and consulting organization or a profitable coach or consultant as an individual. And Gamplify and using the Gamplify technology can help you do that. Now, let me pause here. Another pause, time out. You're going to be able to private label our Gamplify and TribePOD software by the end of April, 1st of May. And so some of you may already be putting in your mind, well, what does this mean to me? If I'm not going to become an Isogenics rep and do the Fit Fun Game, well, then why am I even listening to you? The reason is you're going to be able to create your own scorecards, you're going to be able to private label this to your brand, your unique niche, whatever that may be, and we will consult with you on that. Of course, the consultation will be a fee-based consultation, or you can just take the software and do your best and use the guided tours, but the aspect becomes we will be able to customize the same elements that you're experiencing: scorecards, analysis sheets, tracking mechanisms, social media, replicating websites, automated billing, email systems, contact managers, CRM, all the things that are built into the fitandfungame.net website, you can private label for your coaching and consulting organization. And this creates for you. Now, here's the number one thing. Whether you're a coach or consulting organization or an individual, my skill set for 10 years is being creating raving fans and teaching them to go gather other raving fans and train up raving fans. How many of you would like to have a plethora, a stable full of raving fans who had the tools, technology, and information and scripting to go share with others your message, your business, your unique selling proposition? That's what you're going to experience, because that's what we're training people in the Fit and Fun game. We haven't even started training people on how to share with other people, and they're already doing it. Why? The incentives are right. They're having fun. It's solving their problem. They want to share it with others. We accelerate this using technology and training and coaching methodology that you're going to experience over the next 3 weeks. It'll start probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, where we begin to really share with the Fit Fun game players how to accelerate their viralness in sharing the message about the game. What if they were sharing the message about your game, your coaching, your consultancy, how to engage with that? And so hopefully some of this is tying together, and I'm looking forward to some of your comments and getting those back. Gamplify is the concept that you can apply the basic elements that make games fun and engaging to things that are typically not considered fun or games, or even potentially considered intrinsically fun. Guys, we're able to make things that are not fun, fun. How many people think about replacing 2 meals a day with shakes, taking an accelerator, drinking a cleansed drink, fasting for 2 days, fun? Most people just lining up to sign up for that one, aren't they? No. But how are we motivating people to do that? By making it fun, by assigning points, by winning a game for doing that. And we know what they'll do. We know the results they're going to produce. They're going to be happier on the other end of this, right? Aren't all of your clients going to be happier if they engaged you and did exactly what you told them to do, when you told them to do it, in the way that you described for them to do it? Won't they be happier if they were to trust you? But that's the whole carrot and stick and the whole sales process. You got to build trust, you got to build rapport, you got to do all this stuff, right? Well, in the Fit and Fun game, we're able to get them in a game and they just do it because they don't want to let their teams down. And then they actually complete the process in sequence, in order, in timing, taking the nutrients into their body, which produces the results, which we know what's going to happen to them. They're going to shed pounds and inches. They're going to be happy as candy canes, you know. They're going to be totally happy people, totally engaged, sharing with others. It's already happening in day 4. And now day 5 and 6 of the game. People already like, how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I share with others? Please tell me. Please tell me. I'm ready to share with others. We're actually having to like catch up with them and say, wait a minute, that's coming next week, you know, and yet we're smoothing that process up as well. And so what if that could be your business, where your clients, day 4, day 5 with you, we're saying, how can I bring you other clients? And that's what they're saying. I mean, screw your heads on here real quick and get this. I got Fit Fun game players saying, how can I go bring you other customers? Please teach me how. Where do I send them? What do I do? I want to share with others. How would you like to have that problem? That's why I've coached and trained over 123,000 people, because I've taught them how to go gather other people and get that process done and get it moving and to accelerate it. You can apply those same processes to your business. Prior to Gamplify, it was going to be a little bit tough, right? Because you don't have the, okay, and this is a great one. Most people right now that are making the referrals for the Fit and Fun game are not doing it for the money. 90% of people playing the Fit Fun game right now have no clue about the financial incentives. We have not even talked to them about, oh, you can make money with this. We've led with the game, the benefits of playing the game, and playing the game with others who want to have fun. They're not in it for the financial incentive. This is what I'm talking about, and having your incentives correctly. These people want to refer because they want to refer from in here, not based on what they're going to get paid. Every single person who's asked me to date, in this past 8 days, I've had 5 different players come to me, email me specifically, or call me and say, and we've only got 25 players, so that's like 1/5, right? And that, who knows who's thinking about it, just not calling me or emailing me. I've had 5 players come to me and say, would you please tell me how to bring you, and they didn't say it this way, but I'm going to say it this way to you, bring more clients to you so you can make more money, profit more, and do more of what you love to do. Can you please show me how to do that? How would you like your clients doing that in 5 days? You can only do it if you have the incentives right. I purposefully not lead with the money. I'm trying to talk my team up. Don't talk about the financial incentives. The ones that are interested in it will find that little treasure chest. The rest of the people, it just mucks it up. People will do more for intrinsic motivators than oftentimes they will do for extrinsic or money-driven. Carrot, stick, make money. That's the carrot, right? These people aren't bringing people to me because of the promise of a carrot or the avoidance of a stick. They've had an intrinsic experience that they want to share with others. And guys, that is when things go viral, because then it doesn't cost you money to gather those customers. It doesn't cost you anything to go out and create customer evangelists on your part. And this is, and I'm going to pause and speak specifically to the ministry people, because I've been in marketplace ministry, which is kind of tying business and business thinking to not-for-profit and ministry thinking. Let me tell you, when you tie the thinking and the motivators and the drivers for a for-profit business to the drivers and motivators and incentives of a not-for-profit and try to bring those two incentive structures together, this is why for 5 years, when I got off in marketplace ministry in 2005, I brought everything. I was at a multi-million-dollar software firm cranking out money like it was a mint, right? And then I got over here in the marketplace ministry and tried to, which I was formerly in ministry, try to bring those two worlds together. It's rough because the incentives are offbeat. What people do in the not-for-profit, you can't pay them enough to do in the for-profit because you're operating as a not-for-profit, and it gets crazy when you mix up the incentives. So if you can keep those incentives clear, people will take action consistently in their favor and your favor in a predictable result in a recurring manner. And so, bam, day 4, day 5, people are saying, I want to bring more clients to you, lead generation. I want to help you convert them, lead conversion, so that you can fulfill on them with the Fit Fun Game and Isogenics. Show me how. Not for the money, simply for the health and the intrinsic values. Guys, that's powerful. When people go out and start bringing clients to you for your coaching, consulting, whatever you're delivering on that arena, and not having to pay them or paying them as a secondary and a very set-aside type value, oh my gosh, just Katie bar the door, it's going to rock and roll. And so what we're seeing right now in the first weeks of the Fit Fun Game, again, syncing your experience with the Fit Fun Game to what the TribePOD and the Gamplify processes are, is simply to say that we are having people produce phenomenal results in a short period of time by rightly aligning the incentives, making it fun, and solving a real-world problem. You have a real-world problem of creating a movement around your idea, around your business, around your consultancy or coaching business, and you're struggling to be profitable in that. Gamplify it. Create raving fans. Begin to create this environment where others are gathering others for you for intrinsic values because they're engaging in a game around whatever your process is. I can sit down and consult with you and find out, okay, what are you coaching? What are you consulting on? What are the processes you normally take an individual client through or an organization through? What are your steps, ABC 1, 2, 3? And how do you get that assessment, that culture, that training, that journaling, whatever technology or whatever methodology you use in your coaching consulting business? Let's break that into a game that is not only a game based on them doing your coaching, mentoring, training activities and consultancy activities, it's actually points are assessed and given to them for inviting others and engaging with others into that process. It becomes viral. It becomes huge. It becomes a phenomenal playing ground for you to really move forward. And that's the power of Gamplify, to amplify your business with game dynamics and game thinking. Gamplify, amplify with the G. Trust me, you're going to want some of it. And so let's look at this slide. This is why Gamplify works so well, okay? And these are just 4 of the about 27 game dynamics that we have involved in the Gamplify system. If you can master 4 or 5 game dynamics in any one game, you basically can predict behavior and produce behavior in a recurring manner. We're leveraging right now in Fit Fun, we're leveraging maybe 4 to 6 game dynamics. We're moving in about another 4 or 5 game dynamics over the next several weeks Guys, once we hit 8 to 10, I mean, it's going to be, 8-ball corner pocket, 8-ball corner pocket, 8-ball corner pocket, 8-ball corner pocket. Every time we'll be able to predict the result because we know where all the drivers are. We know what incentive levers we are pulling and pushing that drive behavior. And I heard one guy talk about this, and I'll pause again right here and say this. I'm being careful with whom we reveal this technology to. Not like I'm the keeper of the technology, but all the pundits and all the experts in this arena are saying this technology is powerful. It can be used for good and it can be used for evil because you are manipulating people's behaviors by setting up game dynamics and incentives for certain actions. You can use game dynamics to lead people to a negative end that only profits you when you lose them. My company will, if your company is into lose-win, win-lose, lose-lose, then you forget it. You might as well turn off the webinar. If you can't produce a game that's win for you, yes, profitable coaching, consulting business, but win for them, then don't Gamplify it. And I don't think anybody would be listening to this webinar, hopefully, that would have a me win, you lose type mentality. And so we don't want to see the game dynamics being used for that type of objective where you're just filling your coffers worth of money and you don't care what the result is on the other side. That's not what Gamplify is about. At least that's not what I'm about. And so I strongly encourage you to use this technology and this influence and this force that we are going to unleash for you in this technology and this way of thinking and the way of modifying your business model and processes for the good, for light, for life, for abundance, okay? So just a little point there, but these are 4 game dynamics within the matrix of Gamplify, and there's many more to come. You know, with the Fit Fun game, they get the I can do it attitude. Guys, you've heard that in all of the testimonies. I can do this. I didn't know I could do this. I can't believe I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. You know, everybody is like, I didn't know I could do that. And the reason they can do that is because there's social impact. There's a team or tribe around them that's holding them capable to what they can really do. And because they're in a place where they're leveling up each day, the challenge initially seemed daunting for them. Change my eating, change my diet. And when challenge goes up and skill seems low, there's anxiety. This is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, his book Flow, The Study and Science of Optimal Experience. And we build flow into our game, meaning we match challenge and skill so people stay in that aroused flow, I can do it, but I'm on the edge kind of mentality versus moving them into boredom, which is when the skill is much higher than the challenge, or we move them into anxiety when the challenge is much higher than the skill. We level them up where challenge matches skill, skill goes up, challenge goes up, challenge goes up, skills goes up. And we keep them in a flow channel of I can do this. And we move them into a state of flow, and we tie into it always an epic meaning. Something that is much bigger, so much that has to do with just you. And the epic meaning of the Fit Fun game is changing this country's obesity crisis, changing this country's health and wellness crisis, starting with you, right? Starting with you, engaging with the game and changing your pounds and inches and being a living example of what is possible of a coach that and a consultant that has mastered their body, that has mastered their mental state, that has been fully actualized in your gifts, and now utilizing this powerful technology of Gamplify and TribePOD to really accelerate then the DNA and the unique blueprint that you bring to the coaching industry. And so the Fit Fun game really accomplishes that. That's a 4-week overall health transformation. Can we make a 4-week overall organizational transformation, or a 4-year or a 40-year overall organizational transformation or individual transformation through your coaching, mentoring, training processes? Absolutely. We simply change the dynamics, we change the levers, we change the scorecards and the metrics that people are tracking, we Gamplify it, we make it fun, and we solve their problem. And guess what? Customer loyalty, customer retention will go through the roof. And we'll teach you how to teach doing this in a game environment where you bring in that social fabric of the tribe and the team together. Guys, there's so many ideas I have about your business, about how you do what you do, that could dramatically impact how you actually produce results. Again, what we do is we change the focus from pounds to points. You change the focus from whatever coaching mechanism and end result. See, I mean, people, you see A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. They see A, Z. And they don't know how they're going to get to A to Z, so they get all locked up in that. And so if you can give them a progressive rollout where they're getting points for certain coaching, mentoring, training activities that you're doing, and then have the social fabric built with that, and the team and the tribe and the social network that gives status, access, power. Then you can get down to the stuff and the money as the motivators. But if you can increase someone's status within a community, you can give them access because they're doing certain behaviors to the next level coaching faster than their other people that are going through the organization, which gives them status in the community of the culture of the company, or status in the culture of the group that you're coaching in a group dynamic. Then you have the SAPs, status, access, power, and stuff. Those are major drivers. Getting status in a community, having access to you, the guru, or some other thing that other people don't have access to, giving them power or authority within the community, and then rewarding them with stuff, whatever that may be. You can really begin to align your incentives properly and change your process from being all about the process to being about the game. And that really aligns people's incentives to what they're doing. And we're seeing that with the Fit and Fun game. And we're tracking things that aren't typically considered just a nutritional program. You can add all types of things. We had our centerpiece of Isogenics is the 30-day nutritional kit. But we added other things to that centerpiece: sleep, education, all different types of things. I just got my notice to enter my scores for my Fit and Fun game, which I already did just a few minutes ago. Go team, right? So you can use technology to remind you to enter in scores. All right, so we have transformational habits, sleep, all of these things. Yes, you have a core training, mentoring, coaching model, but you can add other things to it that can incentivize people to engage with your process, even if they're not directly, at least in your mind, related to your overall objective. And of course, we'll modify your scorecard to meet your criteria. That scorecard will be customized to what objectives in education and learning and healthcare, whatever areas that you're tackling, business, gap analysis, assessments, cultural transformation. We'll build a scorecard that's unique to whatever you're doing. Guys, Gamplify technology is being heavily targeted towards the education and the health and wellness arena. Those areas are very conducive to a Gamplified environment. At some point, I'll tell you a story about my son and the type of technology he's using right now that's been Gamplified that is totally accelerating his education. And of course, health and wellness. But business and consulting can very much be Gamplified as well. So that scorecard leads to a leaderboard, which is that social team and tribe fabric that really begins to engage people together. And so that's the Fit and Fun game. That's the big part of what we begin to bring together. Over the course of this next week, as we enter into the gameplay, we're going to be unpacking more of the TribePOD processes. We're going to be unpacking, identify, invite, and all the different 5 phases, and beginning to teach people how to become viral with this game. And that's where you guys, as coaches and consultants, are going to learn not only the Gamplify, where you get the engagement. The TribePOD is where you get the viralness, right? They're making the offer about the game, but TribePOD teaches them to become viral. It teaches them the process of how to share the game environment and how to go out and connect with others. Again, I got 5 people asking me, once they go through the TribePOD process, they'll know exactly what to do to share the game that they've already been intrinsically incentivized to do. So I hope this is beginning to tie together for you, what we're doing and how we're unpacking the game. I want to say this, and I say this with all honesty. I don't like to build anything up bigger than what it is. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away by how Gamplify and game dynamics are changing the direct sales industry. I actually, when in a 10-minute presentation, I won't mention all the, it's the second largest direct sales organization in the world, has asked me now to come speak at their event just in a month from now. One introduction to the Gamplify technology, and they're like, that's so unique, that's so different, we've never heard anything like that, we want it. Right? They want to private label it and take it out to all other companies. I had the same experience with my company in the early 2000s when we were able to stream videos over the internet on dial-up modems, and we were able to actually track that those videos were watched and viewed and did all of this marketing stuff, and our company went viral. Well, this Gamplify thing is going to go viral as well. I would prefer it to go viral with you, with your coaching and consulting processes, your products and services that it is carrying out there to the marketplace. This world needs coaching. Businesses need consulting. They need character. They need balance. They need changes in behaviors. We're going through a cultural crisis right now in America, and coaches and consultants are at the front lines of that crisis. I learned a lot from Doug today, talking about the baby boomers who are leaving businesses. Not only are they leaving and pulling with them as they leave that business and they leave the culture, all of their years of expertise and their seniority and their experience and their knowledge and the distinctions they have with that business, they're pulling the character out. We know that there's a character ethic that has diminished in this society, and the younger generations don't have the character generations of the greatest generation and the generation that preceded or came forth from them. And so we want to see that restored, and coaches and consultants are at the tip of the spear fighting that battle in the trenches each day, one marriage at a time, one corporation at a time, one ministry at a time, one business at a time. And we hope that Gamplify and TribePOD will help you do what you do better, to amplify it using game technology, and to build a tribe around you and your organization so that you can magnify and multiply what you do. So next week, on our next week's webinar, you're going to see a lot more about the TribePOD processes. We spent a lot on Gamplify tonight. Next week will be a little bit more on TribePOD. The following weeks we'll be bringing that all together and showing you the synergistic overlap between these two technology platforms. They're really one, it's just two concepts, and how they work together, and then really spend that last webinar translating that to you and your coaching and consulting business. Again, this is Kyle Newton. I want to thank you and honor you for allowing me to spend this hour with you, speaking into your life, depositing whatever I have to you. I hope it's been useful for you. I look forward to meeting you in person and working with you on your business model, and really working with you to transform lives, organizations, cultures, communities together. So with that, have a great evening, and we'll see you on next week's webinar. God bless.